What's up, guys? Spin Firearms here, and nowadays they are coming out with some awesome budget options that just run. Now, I know it sounds a little weird saying budget options that just run, because here's the difference. Their quality, you can tell, is just a little below your average Glock, your average SIG, your average HK, whatever the case may be. You can tell the difference, you can feel the difference, you can see the difference. But at the same time, I've yet to have a single issue with any of the handguns on this table. And I think there are actually some pretty good options, whether it's just a handgun to throw in your backpack, an extra pistol just to pick up to keep in the safe, something you want for a cheap carry option, because people always talk about or discuss, what happens to your firearm after a self-defense encounter. Whatever the case may be, whatever the reason is why you're looking for a cheaper handgun, these are three pretty dang solid options. And most of these companies that you see on the table, or I should say all these companies, have a pretty decent reputation in the firearms industry, whether it's rifles, shotguns, whatever the case may be, but also now in the handgun sector. Now, first off, we're going to be talking about the Stoger STR-9 Compact. This handgun's been great. I think Stoger's doing a great job. Now, obviously their first releases, which this is basically part of their first pistol releases, maybe not their best design because their micro compact is their best, but these are all good quality handguns. Stoger is an actual good quality brand. Now, they only give you one mag. They take a shortcut on the finish, at least on this one, not my micro compact. But on this one, the subcompact, they did take a little bit of a shortcut on the finish. It is what it is. For a budget handgun, and the price these are selling for, actually pretty decent. Now, just keep in mind this is a 13+1 setup. I'll keep revisiting that, but PSA Dagger, everyone knows about the Dagger. Decent handguns for the money, and it's just a great way to up your arsenal, up your numbers a little bit, get more handguns for cheap, or a lot of people I know trust their lives with these things, and I haven't had a single reason to tell me not to trust my life with it as well. And there's a lot of great things that the Dagger has going on for it as well. Next up, the Smith & Wesson SD9 2.0. Now, obviously this is the 2.0 model, so the newer one. As you can see, Smith & Wesson made some changes to serrations, texturing, memory pads, a whole lot of stuff. So you're getting a pretty decent package right out of the box, but the number one thing I like about it is this trigger, and I do have a live fire review. I'll probably post it in the, in the comments so you guys can see this. It's a true tack driver. Now, I only shot one mag in my review because this is all it comes with. That's another benefit of the Dagger versus these mags. The Stoger only comes with one, or these guns, the Stoger only comes with one mag, and the Smith & Wesson only comes with one mag as well, but not a big deal. They're cheap enough to the point where you have a little bit of money left over to buy some extra mags. But this thing was a tack driver, and as I shot it throughout the day and finished with like 150 rounds through it, not a single hiccup, man, does this thing shoot pretty well. Now, it's not the best trigger, it's not the Shield Plus trigger on there, it's not the MMP trigger, it's similar, just a little bit heavier. We're going to get into it though. Let's start with that Stoger like I was talking about. This is going to be the smallest out of all of them, which we can do a quick comparison between all the handguns. So there's the Stoger versus the Dagger, but it's 13+1 on the right versus 15+1 on the left. But as you can see, the Stoger is also a little shorter because it does have a little bit shorter barrel. Overall footprint though is generally basically the same, right? 13+1 on the right with the Stoger, 16+1 on the left with the SD9 2.0. As you can see, very similar in size. Again, Stoger is going to be a little bit shorter. And then we'll compare the Dagger and SD9 real quick. Dagger on the right, 15+1. SD9 2.0, 16+1 on the left. Now, what's interesting about that is the extra capacity. Not the biggest deal one round, but still pretty cool. And you see the Stoger seems to lose the capacity battle. But in my opinion, the best quality handgun on this table is probably the Stoger. It just feels the most solid. And it's basically a Glock 19 clone, just a little smaller. Now, they did a lot of great things with the Stoger. I'm going to move these to the side so you can see the contrast with the wood. Awesome big trigger guard. Awesome if you live in a cold area, use glove fingers to shoot, that whole sort of thing. Comes with a rail, which should be pretty standard on any compact out there, so it is what it is. Big first finger groove. Notice on Glocks, a lot of people don't like the finger grooves, but it's a big undercut into a finger groove. So basically any size finger could just sneak in there and feel good. And then they left the rest of the grip with no finger grooves. So basically it can sit anywhere. And I get a full 3-finger contact on this handgun. Basically nothing hanging off, and it feels really solid in the hand. Really good ergonomics on Stogers, and that's what I'm learning. That's a big part about the Stogers, and what I like about them is the STR9 subcompact has awesome texturing and awesome ergonomics for its size. Same with this. The texturing is on point, but the micro compact, for how small it is, by far has the best texturing and the best ergonomics. So Stoger is just knocking it out the park. But awesome texturing. Like I said, their micro compact is a little bit more updated on the texturing and perfect. Also, these pyramids, they shaved them down a little bit more on the micro compact, but really, it gives you really good traction, especially if you got sweaty hands while shooting, if it's hot out or whatever the case may be. It actually feels really good on the hand. I wish Glock would take some notes from Stoger. Good forward and rear serrations, not a big deal. They work, they function, they do what they're supposed to. 3-dot metal sights. I'm not the biggest fan of the sights on this individual pistol. I think they could have done better, but they are metal, which is going to be better than Glock right out of the box. The finish is where I think the Stogers lose the battle, is this finish isn't very good. My Stoger subcompact shows a little bit more wear with less rounds through it, which is interesting, but the new micro compact has a new finish on it, so really like that. Everything functions on this handgun. Clear safety check. Rack's pretty smooth, actually. You know, releasing that slide, people don't want to see me do it. Well, very easy, but at the same time pretty stiff. Right here, trigger, it's just Glockish, but still a crisper, cleaner, shorter Glock. And reset. I mean, this is just a good handgun. And 13+1, that's plenty of capacity. It could be your home defense, and it takes the larger Stoger mag. So you can get basically 17+1 or 15+1, whatever the case may be, out of this handgun, but still carry it in a smaller configuration like this. I absolutely love the Stoger. Next up, the PSA Dagger. I have 2 daggers, which I think is a pretty decent sample size for one person. 0 issues. Between the two, we got like 1,500 rounds. I have way more rounds through my green and black dagger. This one has less, but I thought this was more comparable because it was the cheaper out of all of them. This goes for about $279. This is just a stock stainless steel, not even optics cut. Metal sights though, 3-dot sights, pretty decent. I actually like these better than the Stoger. Textured, actually decent sights. I do like the stainless steel finish, and I do recommend it definitely on daggers. The barrel finish, you can tell, is going to be pretty bad, but it is what it is. You're paying $279 for this handgun with 5 mags. That's crazy. You get 5 mags, but they aren't Glock mags, and I've heard of lots of issues with the daggers with the P mags, right? In this case, I run with all Glock mags. I have a bunch of Glocks, so it makes it really easy for me. I only run them with Glock mags, and I've never had an issue with it. Similar to Stoger, you got that big undercut for that finger groove, and then they leave the rest to be, you know, placed by you, but then a little mag well, if you see that. So it sort of locks your fingers in. They're not as spread out as they could be. They could be like that, but it locks it in for better recoil. I actually like that. And they leave you a little cut here for a bad malfunction. You can literally rip down on that mag, get some leverage behind it. Rail, this is going to be basically the same exact size and dimension in every way, shape, and form as a Glock 19. But as you can see, it has perfect texturing. Almost perfect texturing, I should say. Really good texturing, really nice, and the ergonomics overall fit my hand really well. They feel good. I wear size large gloves, pretty common, pretty standard. Feels really good. Now, out of all these handguns, this one does have the worst trigger. It's like gritty and mushy, and it keeps going and going and going, and then it goes, right? On my green one, it's actually a lot more crisp. I do understand with Glock clone triggers, they tend to be all over the place, but the difference between the two triggers, maybe I'll make a video on it. Decent reset, but once again, it's very gritty. It's very gritty and spongy, if you can hear that. And then it breaks. So, it is what it is. Does it shoot just fine? Yes, I shoot it just fine. No worries at all. If this was my handgun for home defense, I would be just fine. No problems with it. Last but not least, my newest pickup. Only 150 rounds through it, but 150 flawless rounds. And 20 rounds were Federal HSTs. Not a single issue. Just shot a box off. Now, this handgun has a lot going for it, especially for the price. It was $300. It is clear, safety check. Racking it, it has like a little bit of slide drag, but it's very light. It's very smooth, actually. It's hard to describe. It's smooth pulling back because of the weight, but you do feel a little drag in there. Not a big deal. Magazines, pretty good quality, but like I said, only comes with one. As you can see, 16 rounds in this mag, being the same exact size as basically a Glock 19. Now, rail, awesome serrations. I really like the look of this handgun. I think it looks awesome. I like the stainless steel. I like what they did with the upper. I don't like that I think these are plastic sights. You know, they feel like plastic. They definitely are plastic. And then the front is metal. I don't like that they sort of regressed and went towards something that everyone can't stand about Glocks. It sort of doesn't make sense, but at the same time, they're trying to cut costs. So I get it, right? But I've ruined so many Glock sights in my life, It's not even funny. Stock Glock sights just break when you drop it on them. When you drop it on concrete, when you drop it on, you know, anything, and you hit it here, that thing busts completely. And even trying to get off Glock sights, you can break them all the time. Awesome memory pads, awesome texturing. The texturing on this handgun is on point. It is a great feeling handgun in the hand. You get full 3-finger contact on it, and it just feels good. It feels natural. It feels right. And the recoil impulse on this handgun is really solid. It's better than the Dagger. I would say the Stoger is a little bit smoother shooting handgun, though. Everything functions on it. It launches that mag. I usually just slingshot the slide, but a lot of people do use it for that. And last but not least, that trigger. That is what a lot of people came for the 2.0. It's a nice budget handgun, like I said, just to throw in the backpack, just to have an extra handgun, just to have something if your main carry or main home defense is out of commission for the time being. Whatever the case may be, $300, just a beater. You know, you go hiking with it, fishing, whatever the case may be. Always great options in budget handguns, right? But this trigger, it actually feels so good on your finger. But where it's different than the Shield Plus is it's heavier. It's a very clean trigger, just a little bit heavier. This definitely has the best trigger out of all of them. Long reset, but it feels good. I honestly like it. The handgun, like I said, does feel a little bit cheaper, even cheaper than the Stoger. It feels cheaper than the Dagger, but overall, I think it functions probably equal to the Stoger, but in different areas. They're both great shooters. I would rank them as the Stoger being my favorite, even though it has the least capacity for its size. Then I would say the SD9 2.0 and then the Dagger. But that doesn't mean I don't like them all, because I truly like the Dagger. I love my green and black Dagger. It's something I shoot a lot at the range and really enjoy. 3 awesome compacts that won't break the bank. Maybe you're just picking up something for if crap hits the fan. You got to remember, they take Glock mags. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.